I got an air fryer. I don't need your tricks.
Oh, God, the air fryer. That's right.
Yeah, the all-useful device.
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate, oh yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes. Let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And welcome to another episode of the Superhero Slate Trailer Park.
Oh, yeah, we did have a couple trailers this week.
We've got new previews for Black Widow. Boom. The Bad Batch. Double boom. Space Jam 2. Know you've been dying to see that. A new Suicide Squad trailer and more.
Yeah, I was looking through the show notes before we got on, and I was just like, this is a lot of trailers, isn't it? Should we call this the trailer park? But it looks like you got there before me.
Oh, did I ever? I know what a trailer park is, believe me. Been there, done that, Mike. No, I'm kidding. But no, we got trailers this week, and you might be asking yourself, is this the same Suicide Squad trailers last week? No, it's not. It's a different one. We'll talk about that
Yeah,
later.
I was actually surprised. I watched it just before we hopped on. A lot of actually new things in there that we can talk about this week.
I know it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Here we are, Mike. We're in April Fools. I just want to preface this. This is the worst week to do show notes for this show because everyone tries to be cute on April 1st and pull pranks on us, and I just have to actually skip that day. But this year,
right.
that day actually had some new news on it. So I'm like, this is really just got me between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, we had a reprieve from that last year because nobody was going to doing jokes fresh into the COVID pandemic. Like that was like we were still like in lockdown. I don't even think by April 1st last year we knew if we should be wearing masks yet.
Yeah.
Like we were still just on the wash your hands train and just keep away from people. So totally different times, that's for sure. And also, I thought some of the April Fool's stuff I saw this year was kind of weak. Like it honestly, it's kind of gone from like how like Batman Day or Star Wars Day used to just be kind of fun, and now they've just turned into marketing days. And now that's what April 1st. Like I saw this promoted post in my feed for 2 days straight. It was that language learning app Duolingo, and it's just like ha ha ha! Look at this. We've made our own brand of toilet paper. Look, we hired somebody to Photoshop our logo onto a roll of toilet paper. Aren't we so funny? And I was like, oh, God, this is harsh. And I saw another one. It was so bad, I don't even remember the brand. But it was also a promoted tweet, which, is just bad because, like, they're not even funny enough to get it organically out there.
That's a lot of red tape to get to that joke, so it's not good.
Yeah, and it was at the end of April 1st, and, like, their branded April Fool's joke only had, like, maybe 20 retweets or something like that, and it's just like, oof, you really, really thought this was going to be more funny than it was. So, I miss the good old-fashioned days of like IGN doing like a fake trailer for a video game.
Yeah, I think they got in trouble with some of those though. Like they were like, oh, here's the movie for Zelda kind of thing, or
pushing
whatever.
the envelope.
Yeah, well, I saw two comic book related ones. One was Kevin Feige is hiring what's his name, Zack Snyder, to do the next 3 Avengers movies. And I was like, yeah, you got me. But then there was another one later that day that says that that they're actually going to restore the Snyderverse at WB, and I had to click that one just to make sure. Yeah, it wasn't, because I was like, oh, these sons of bitches.
Did you see the Bruce Campbell one though?
I did, and I was sent that to me, and I was like, this is fake, and they're like, how do you know it's fake? I'm like, there's a typo in the middle of the page. It says never heard of it, but he's forgot the R in heard, so it says never heard of it. I'm like, they wouldn't have a typo on a script for this movie, so I was like, they almost. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't come across that one until April 2nd, so I was just like, oh wow, and then because I was looking through the script and I was like, if this is a real script, I was like, this is a pretty juicy page. Like he's looking for the dark hole and everything. Like they're really, Sam Raimi is really letting a lot of this out. And then of course I saw the caption, so that one did get me. But it was a day later, so it doesn't count.
Well, here's the thing. What if it's disguised as an April Fool's joke? Because I mean, Marvel has lied to us before. They told us Endgame wasn't the title of Endgame for how long? At least
That's
a year.
True.
What if they we got really good feedback on this. Let's just film it. throw it in there for fun.
Also, too, I don't see like Bruce Campbell as the type of guy who would draft up that fake script. It seems like somebody sent that to him, the post.
Yeah.
So that was Sam Raimi or somebody over on the team of the Multiverse of Madness. It could be a calculated joke. There could be stuff in there to pull from it still, because I mean that's a little bit too much of a lark for, I would say, old man Bruce Campbell. As much as we like you, he's an old man now. I don't think he has the time or patience for elaborate April Fool's jokes for the internet.
He was an old man 10 years ago or more when he was on Burn Notice. So yeah, I mean, I it's fun. There's fun things to be pulled out of here. There's other stuff, but like the whole day dedicated to me like triple checking actual articles to make sure. Am I getting punked, or does this need to go in our show notes on Sunday?
On top of that, we'll be talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Godzilla vs. Kong at the end of this episode. You know, in case you haven't caught those yet, you can avoid spoilers and still listen to the rest of our episode here. But that Godzilla and King Kong dropped on Wednesday, and then the next day was like April Fool's, right? So like I was confused all week.
Yeah, you were. I was like, I'm gonna watch it tonight. You're like, is it out? It did a leak. I think you thought it leaked online, and I'd gotten it that way. I'm like, no, it's literally on HBO Max right now. So, yeah, it's been 1 week for sure. I think this is if we had a if we got paid for this, this would be the week where I get all the money, Mike, because this is where I got to put in the effort. But that's fine. It's cool. So let's go ahead and jump into this QuaranStream, because like I said, we got 2 reviews kind of at the end of it, so this is gonna be a bit of a longer episode. Let's go ahead and jump into this. Tell me what you've been watching.
Yeah, so at the top, I'd like to give people some streaming PSAs here. It's the end of the month. We've transitioned to a new month, so you got streaming contracts ending and beginning. And unfortunately, that happened in the middle of the wife and I watching the classic Rat Race film, an amazing ensemble film that still holds up, and I think anybody and everybody should give it a watch. I don't want to say it's a hidden gem, but when people kind of talk about these older, was it like late 90s, early aughts? I don't quite remember. But nobody really brings up Rat Race. Like, if you talk about it, people have fond memories, but it's never really making any lists out there, I would say. But we watched the first half of it, like maybe on like the 29th, and then we're like, oh, let's finish Rat Race. And we checked it out on like the 30th or the 31st, and it had expired over on Amazon Prime. So it's not streaming anywhere anymore. So this is a heads up. If you're watching anything towards the end of the month, don't split it up into 2 days, because it might not be around the next time you turn it on. So at least we got to see the classic prairie dogging moment of that movie, which is hilarious. So we did get some good laughs out of it. But how are we going to get to the Smash Mouth conclusion, Chris? That's the hypest part of the movie, when they all go to the Smash Mouth concert, and we didn't get to watch it. So heads up over there. And also, I mentioned Resident Alien a few weeks ago on the podcast, and I said it was all streaming for free on Peacock, but now it's locked. It's locked. All the episodes are locked, even the first one. So you have to have like a Peacock subscription in order to watch it. So we were going to watch one the other night, so we couldn't find it.
It's funny you mentioned this. I've got PSAs later and something about streaming. So this is a great preface for we're going to talk about some more later in the episode.
What? My mind's always vibing with the show.
Yeah.
So we had to look for more Alien content. So we came across a recommended show on Hulu, which premiered in 2017. I'll let you know right away. It only ran for 2 seasons, 20 episodes, but we're watching it anyway because it's pretty funny, called People of Earth. It was a TBS show. I think technically Warner Brothers owns PBS. So I don't know how long People of Earth will stay on Hulu, if it'll move over to HBO Max eventually. But as of right now, it's on Hulu, and it's pretty funny. It stars Wyatt Cenac. If you're old enough to remember Jon Stewart's version of The Daily Show, he was a correspondent that came on there every once in a while, and he plays this journalist who is doing a story on these alien abductees that have a support group that all believe they got abducted by aliens, and then he's abducted by aliens, so he moves to this small town. It's all pretty funny, and you actually get to see the aliens kind of like up in their spaceship, and it's a really, really funny satirical show. It's produced from, I didn't know Conan O'Brien had like his own own production company for other television shows, but like Conan O'Brien's an executive producer, like his logo, his Conan Co. logo pops up at the end. So if you're a fan of Conan O'Brien and his type of humor, People of Earth is really, really funny. So we're working our way through the first season now. I'm hoping maybe there's some sort of nice conclusion at the end of season 2, because it doesn't look like we're getting any more of it. But it's funny, more alien content. So I don't know if you've heard of it at all, Chris.
Maybe in passing, but not actively.
Gotcha. But it's pretty funny. So check out People of Earth over on Hulu. And to wrap it up, I am really, really bad at Call of Duty Warzone. Like, I don't know if they just keep putting me in these really, really hard lobbies, or if I'm just really bad at the game, but like, I'm just like not having any fun with it right now. Like, I'm always getting like murdered. Like, I can't win a gunfight to save my life, and I just feel like I'm wasting a lot of my time on the game. So I got really, really frustrated the other day, and I was like, screw this. What else do I have on this PlayStation? And I forgot last month I downloaded the free PlayStation Plus game of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I guess you'd have to consider it part 1 since it's coming out in parts. So I played the demo a while back, so I started playing the I guess free to me version of the game, and it's really, really fun. I have like the vaguest of vague memories of playing the classic game like back in, I want to say maybe middle school. And I think it was a PlayStation's greatest hits when I got it, so it probably would have been like 1999, maybe like 2000 when I started playing it, because it came out in 97. Easier to remember. Final Fantasy VII came out in 97. That's how I always remember it in my head. So I have vague memories of kind of the layout of the world that they're in, and I know the first game is mainly contained to the to kind of like the dense city area with all the reactors, but I'm just having fun running around. It's a very interesting environment. I kind of forgot there's kind of this weird kind of like kind of retro kind of, I want to say almost like 1920s aesthetic.
It's a steampunk kind of world.
Yeah, kind of in that vein. So I'm having fun running around. It's really easy for my mind to connect to the systems of the game, because even though they've revamped the systems, it's still easy to remember. Oh, you got like items, abilities, and materia. So it was easier for me to plug into this game than it was to The Witcher 3, that I tried the other day. But I know a lot of people dig The Witcher, so no jabbing there. But yeah, I'm having fun with Final Fantasy VII. I like how they kind of almost made it goofy. It has a lot of goofy kind of Japanese anime to it, where like Barrett is this biggest overactor ever. Like, you can't, even when he's being serious in a scene, it's just he seems so goofy because it seems like he's always reading like a manifesto when he talks. And then even when you come across like these incidental or I guess unincidental characters on a train that are just like business people, they kind of like speak with these really funny like soliloquies that like just don't make any sense. So it does kind of feel like I'm almost playing like a goofy anime. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake is really, really fun. I know part 2 is either out already or it's coming out, so it's cool to know that I can roll into that soon.
Part 2 is nowhere near anything, actually.
I thought it was coming out this year because they had like a trailer for it or something.
That's not part 2. That is technically the PS5 version of 1, and it's got an extra scene to it, pretty much. Because you're thinking of it's remake something else, but they didn't call it part 2. I'm gonna actually look at it because it's only for the PS5, which is disappointing because the version you have. Intergrade PS5 remake Intergrade is what you're thinking of.
See, this is the craziness of Japan all over again. This is the same problem that you have with like Kingdom Hearts games. It's just like you just give me like single numbers to make this easier. So, I looked it up as well. It looks like the part 2 won't be released until 2022 or even later. So wow, I got a little bit to go then.
My guess is it'll only be for PlayStation 5. So
I hopefully I'll have one and they'll be actually available by then.
Yeah, knock on wood. So yeah, it's the upgrade's called Integrate. It's got like a new mission because I actually bought this game. I played the demo. Remember, I think we talked about it. Last year I ended up buying it when it was on sale. And then I found out that you can't upgrade the free one with PlayStation Plus, but you can upgrade the disc one for PlayStation 5, which again, this is like I said, the Final Fantasy thing. There's going to be probably 8 more Final Fantasy sub games of this before we get to the second one. So, but I think it's fun. I mean, I never played 7 when it came out. So for me, this is actually my first, foray into Final Fantasy 7. And having watched the movies, Advent Children. Did you ever watch Final Fantasy VII Advent Children?
Yep, I did.
And like they really took a lot of that graphics and aesthetic, in 2007, and made it like, hey, this is what took us a year to make in 07. It's actually just live gameplay now.
It's just like real time rendered right in front of you. It's pretty crazy, and it looks great on my PlayStation 4. Not even a PlayStation 4 Pro, just a normal PlayStation. So I'm having a pretty good time, and that's what I've been streaming / playing this week. Chris, what about you?
Well, on the other side of that, I actually dove into a game that's free on Game Pass that came out called Outriders. Have you heard of this game yet?
I have no clue what this is.
Okay, perfect. So essentially, long story short, Earth has been wiped out or annihilated, and they get like a million people in the ship in cryo, and they ship them towards this new planet. And you're part of the Outriders, which is like a military group that's supposed to land, survey this, find a new thing, get the base camp up before they unfreeze everybody. Well, needless to say, you land on this planet, shit goes sideways. They wake you up like 50-something years later instead. So you find out you have powers, and so there's like 4 classes you can play through. I'm playing as a Technomancer, which there's also like a Pyromancer, and I forget the other 2. But it's essentially a kind of a cover shooter, but you also have abilities that kind of regenerate over time. An example being my character has a freeze turret, so I can toss it out in the battlefield, and it'll like start shooting freeze blasts at enemies. So much like using, was it cold, or what's it called in Final Fantasy?
Materia.
Well, the spell for cold. What's that called?
I don't even know what it's called. Just frost or something.
Yeah. So essentially that. So it freezes people. So while you shoot them from behind cover, and then you kill and get stuff. So what's cool is it's got this nice. It's a lot like the game The Division. It's got a huge sprawling map across these worlds with different points. The lore is expanding as it goes, but it's really cool because it's free on Game Pass for me, so I didn't have to pay to play it. So I'm not out anything, but also it's cross-play. So I've got a friend on Xbox and another one on PlayStation. I can jump back and forth with, which is great to see that becoming a standard across games, because like we play Warzone together. I'm on my Xbox, you're on their PlayStation. It's great that you don't have to go out and pick a console with your friends and that be the console for the generation if you ever want to play with them. What was it? South Park made that joke back years ago with the Game of Thrones reference.
If science fiction has taught us anything, Chris, with that game or any other science fiction movies, don't let yourself be put to sleep on a spaceship. You will not wake up where you're supposed to be, or maybe you won't even wake up at all. It's all messing with you.
You're gonna wake up way too late, and you're not gonna know what's going on, and then you have to fight your way out of it. Or
you're gonna wake up early, and then you're not gonna be able to go back to sleep, and you're gonna have to like maintain. That's actually like literally something, but I can't even remember what it's from. But like, don't let yourself wake up. You need to wake up right on time, and you have no control over that.
Is it that Jennifer Lawrence movie where the guy wakes her up early?
I haven't seen it, so I don't know what the crux of that story is. But I think things are woken up too soon.
It's like maybe it's Jeremy Renner. I think it's some Avenger. I'm pretty sure is with it.
There's like
Chris Pratt.
There's
Chris Pratt.
I feel like there's a comedy beat in a TV show or a movie where somebody's woken up too early and they're like, damn it, because then they just have to like live. What was that, Rocket Man?
No, they didn't get frozen. I don't think they got. He got frozen and ate all the food. Unfrozen ate all the food. Remember?
Yeah. That's what it was.
And then the whole show, Red Dwarf, is based on him staying too long and being woken up and everyone's dead because he was like in freezing for decades. And that's the whole show.
Don't let a computer AI put you to sleep. It's not going to end well.
Yeah. And then what was the Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes?
Oh, Austin Powers. I mean, that one turned out okay. That one turned out okay.
Yeah. Except for the cat. But anyway, Outriders. It's great. It's a looter shooter. You find the big on finding chests out in the world, upgrading your gear, getting new rarities, getting mods for these. One of those feels very Diablo-esque in its looting things and skill trees, which a lot of people strive for. But it's also got an interface like Destiny. It's like taking all these games I love, little bits of them, and kind of mash them together. And it's been fun to play it. What's crazy about this game is, and I think this might be something you would enjoy, is they have what are called world tiers. So essentially, it's your difficulty level, but you have 15 difficulties to choose from now.
Okay. Put me on 0, the easiest one.
Like 1 is like a breeze, and it goes all the way up to 15, which is like you're supposed to have like 4 friends and all the legendary gear kind of thing. And I'm struggling on 5. I'm like I need to tone it down a bit. So that's been really fun to kind of dive into for free on Game Pass and play this week. So if you have Game Pass, I'd recommend trying it. If you have other friends who want to try it, this is one of those games I think that just people are gonna love. It's gonna be out in like it'll be on sale this summer, like during the summer game sales. They always throw out and that, because people buy it, so it'll be good. And also, no microtransactions. Nobody likes microtransactions, Mike.
Yeah.
So let's go for that. All right, let's jump into our news. Let's get into this. I want to talk about this stuff. I don't think we've talked about any of this week, probably at all. So that's the best part. That's a good episode. First and foremost, I think this is the only thing we've talked about is the Obi-Wan show. The Star Wars Twitter account, Lucasfilm, put up their official casting announcement as the show begins production.
Dude, I almost freaked out when you sent this to me because I didn't read the headline, and I thought this was for the what's the Rogue One show, the Cassian Andor. I thought it was for Andor, and I was like, no, don't, like, I know I'm gonna watch it either way, but it's just like, stop trying to make me watch Cassian Andor, stop trying to make it a thing. But then when I thought it was Obi-Wan, I was like, oh, this makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So the first face I saw was Kumail Nanjiani.
Yes,
big fan of that guy. He's awesome. Not only is he should have blown up already for the Eternals at Marvel, but that was delayed. But man, he's in both wheelhouses of Disney. He's going to be in the Marvel and Star Wars universe.
Oh yeah, they got him in there. When you're in Star Wars, you're set, man. I mean, if anything's better than that Dave Bautista movie he was in that I almost watched.
Yeah.
Was it a Stuber? Oh my god.
Yeah, Stuber.
God, I bought that from mine. So yeah, Kumail Nanjiani is probably the biggest casting announcement here. Again, just confirmation: Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen are returning to reprise their roles, which is fantastic. Another returning cast member from Star Wars is Joel Edgerton. He played, Anakin's half brother in episode 2 and 3. Whenever he went back to Tatooine. And I guess Uncle Owen is the guy who's got Luke, so he'll be Luke's like protector / father figure.
I didn't notice this until the second time around of looking at this graphic, but Bonnie PC. I don't know how to say her last name. She was the other component of Tatooine, the aunt. I guess the aunt and uncle, because these are the aunt and uncle that we're talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know her from anything else, so that's why
it's weird. No, it's weird because the other thing I know her from is the horribly boring HBO documentary, and it's only boring because it was not intelligently put together. The story is very compelling. She was in that crazy like Nexium sex cult thing, where like the leader of the cult has now been like charged and like he's going like to prison like literally forever, but she got out of it, and she has been in a lot of these documentaries about being trapped in that cult. So and the whole reason that she was brought into the cult is because the cult was doing the whole Scientology thing as well, of like, oh, let's try to get influential celebrities, and they looked at her and just like, oh, you've been in a Star Wars movie, because this was back when she was very briefly in the prequels. So they're just like, yeah, let's pull her in, she's a celebrity. So it's just so weird seeing her like back out and acting again. It's good for her that she got out of it, but it's just bizarre seeing her on this cast list.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't really remember Aunt Beru from the prequels.
Yeah.
And Joel Edgerton, he's going to be a good actor. And then I think Indira Varma, she was one of the in Game of Thrones. Pedro Pascal's wives, or that. I don't remember the country.
That I'm not a Game of Thrones super nerd, so I don't remember the country, but it was the Mediterranean kind of climate.
Yeah. She poisoned the daughter or something of Cersei. And then I thought it was Orlando Bloom as Rupert Friend over here.
Oh yeah, that does look like Orlando Bloom, doesn't it?
Yeah. Other than that, there's a bunch more actors on here. I don't know them off the top of my head, but it's great to see the casting and get hyped for this, because they are going to be filming, and you know what this usually means. They're going to be filming outside, and we're going to be seeing these actors, and they're going to be like, those set photos, here they are. They're officially with us, kind of thing.
It makes you wonder what Hayden Christensen's role is going to be, right? Yeah. I mean, really, you don't actually need him on set, right? Yep. If he's always going to be in the suit, you just put somebody else in there, and you just bring him into an audio booth, right? And you get some lines off of him, if you really needed to do it that way. If they're going to maybe incorporate maybe some unseen flashbacks, that could be kind of cool. I would be into that. Or, his face should still technically be recognizable in some way. So, it'd be pretty cool if, we haven't really seen this in the canon outside of the last original Star Wars film of Vader taking his helmet off, and you get to see a totally different actor, right? So it would be kind of cool cool if we do get to see him take the helmet off one more time, and then it's you got the Hayden Christensen in there. That'd be fun.
Yeah. I think there's plenty of ways to incorporate him in there, and rather than just voices, right? Like flashbacks and stuff like that. Because I think there's going to be a lot of I guess probably thinking back on this, and I don't know what the story is, but this is going to be great. And they say they're using a lot of the volume stuff from the Mandalorian for these. So
also, I didn't realize the official title was Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
It could I thought it would either split it in half, either Obi-Wan or Kenobi, but that's cool. Good to know.
Yeah, they're going all in on that SEO factor, Mike. You can't pick one or the other. You want to type it all out and hit both of them. So that's cool. That's via Star Wars on Twitter. Take a look at that. Next up, we're gonna start our trailer park. This is where this all kind of fell in place together, and it was beautiful, Mike, and I really loved it. First and foremost is the Star Wars The Bad Batch. We got a trailer for that upcoming show, and it confirms that this takes place during Order 66, and they're being hunted down by the Empire. A couple other characters pop up. Fennec Shand, who is actually played by oh my gosh, I forget her name. She's Agent May and
May from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Ming-Na Wen, that's who it is. Original Mulan from the cartoon movie. So she's in there voicing that, and then Captain Rex, favorite clone trooper from the original Clone Wars, makes an appearance around 1.5 minute mark. What was cool about this, Mike, and I've been rewatching the Clone Wars I think we just finished it, but kind of in bed, at night, for background noise. And the animation has always been television animation, right? Like, it's fine. When you look too close, you see that blurry palette of texture kind of thing. Like there's no real texture. It's flat, but it's blurry, different colors and shades. But this show looks absolutely beautiful. They have come a long way in 14 years to make this show actually look astounding in animation.
Yeah, they got better computers that can handle those shaders and lighting a lot better.
Yeah, the models are there. Again, a reminder, all the clones have the same voice actor, so that's awesome as well. One guy doing literally every clone to have with their own personality and their own intonation. It's been great to hear that. It feels at home, right? Because we watched all the Clone Wars, so this feels really good to see that. And then also they had said that it will have a 70-minute debut episode on May 4th, which buckle up for that, man. That's a mini movie if you ask me.
Yeah, no Grogu or Baby Yoda, but we suspect possibly a Grogu / Baby Yoda in this show.
I expect this trailer has maybe stuff from the first 2 episodes. I don't know how many episodes there is, but I think it's this is the first 2 episodes.
In general, that's usually how television trailers work. The editors are operating off of 2 episodes, and that's about all you get.
Yeah, exactly. Or again, I don't think they'd edit out anything from this for us, but having the Marvel and the Disney team together, and the Star Wars trailers, the marketing stuff, I imagine they might hide some stuff from us too. So.
We don't always bring it up on the show, but the next season of Rick and Morty, the trailer is out for that season, and you can tell just by looking at the clips that they used, they only have the first 2 episodes available. That's usually how all television works, which is usually why television trailers can be underwhelming depending on the content, because there's only so much to go off of. Right?
Exactly. They got to build a whole story and not give you any details based on just the intro. So I'm excited for the Bad Batch, Mike. I don't know how you feel. I know you didn't watch the whole last season, so you're probably not as familiar with these characters.
I'm ambivalent. I don't care either way. Yeah. I'll check it out.
I think their introduction in the last season of the Clone Wars, exactly a year ago on May 4th, the first couple episodes, a lot of people are like, well, why is this here? Well, they were setting up this prequel kind of thing, but also showing the character Fives is actually a clone who makes lots of appearances throughout the Clone Wars and becomes part of this team later. So I'd recommend watching that, getting fresh before it comes out May 4th. So take a look at that. Surprise drop on a Saturday. Okay, this caught me off guard. Black Widow trailer. We got word last week. This will be on theaters and Disney Plus on July 9th of this year. That's a special day, Mike. You know why that's a special day?
Why is that a special?
That's my wedding anniversary. Is July 9th.
Aww.
So I'm like, we're gonna be watching Black Widow, right? She's like, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, okay, good, because I'm getting down with this.
As we see in this trailer, she says she's not afraid of her past anymore, and neither should you, the past with your wife. Maybe this dropped on Saturday to possibly compete with the news cycle of the second or the third trailer we're going to talk about, but we'll talk about that in a second. I was a little apprehensive to watch this one because I was like, oh, we're a little too close to the movie coming out. And really, this movie never should have had this many trailers to begin with, right? So I felt like, oh, are they going to have to start including things that might ruin the story? But we checked it out, and it all seems on the level to me.
I previewed it for Mike. I was like, Mike, this is fine. There's no story points here. Just some more action scenes out of place, out of context. Again, Marvel's known for editing things. I think it really sets. I think one of the cool things seen was the young father figure, the Red Guardian, David Harbour, as a younger man talking to the kids. We get to see young Natasha with blue dyed hair a little bit. And then also a lot more Taskmaster scenes, especially.
Yeah, it looks pretty badass with that sword, some falling action scenes.
The arrow scene was very reminiscent of The Winter Soldier, where he shoots that metal thing underneath Nick Fury's SUV.
And it bounces off the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the weak spot of these cars, right in the belly. Obviously, like we said, since this movie never should have had this many trailers to begin with, I don't know if they're necessarily padding it with showing us previous clips of Natasha's life, because they even showed a clip from Endgame where she's dangling with Hawkeye and about to sacrifice herself. Technically, that should be nowhere in this movie, right? Because it hasn't even happened yet. So it would be interesting if maybe they kind of incorporated some like kind of back and forth time in this movie, but I don't think so. But it could happen.
You didn't hear the record scratch, and she's like, I bet you're wondering how I got here, and it's all a flashback. No, I think that the point of this padding with the front was just to make it longer, but also to reintroduce the casual audience to Black Widow. We've not had a trailer in well over 6 months. By the time Black Widow hits theaters, it will have been 2 years since we had a theatrical Marvel release. So I think they're just like, hey, remember this character who's been in like every Avengers and Captain America movie?
I'm ready for it. We mentioned last week, California, people over 16 can get their vaccine here in a couple weeks. By the time July runs around, hopefully we get more and more vaccinations out there. I'm going to see this in theaters. I'm hyped. I'm excited. I should be fully vaxxed by then. It was exciting. The action set pieces that we get to see in this trailer got me hyped. And it's like, even though these Disney Plus shows, have the same actors in it, they have exciting storylines and stuff, they don't quite have the same impact of the visuals that you get in like a 2-hour movie. So I'm excited to go back to the movies with Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree. We had the theatrical phase 4 to kick off. We had the TV shows to kick off phase 4, but the theater version is what matters, right? Like that's where the big stuff is. I love the TV stuff, but I think this is gonna be a bigger thing. And I was talking again with someone else. I reconfirmed my mentality. I'm gonna see it in theaters one day and get Disney Plus the next day, so I can rewatch it as many times as I want without having to go to the theater multiple times, and leave those seats open for people who do want to go and do that, because I don't think we'll be 100% theater access by July, as much as I wish to. I will be thankfully not going fully vaccinated in less than 2 weeks, so I will have that luxury, but still having both is going to be fantastic. So kudos for them for looking into that. Do you like anything out of the Warner Brothers vault, Mike? Because you're gonna love the next Space Jam movie.
New Legacy. It's a bit of a jammed space, if you ask me, Chris.
Yeah. Oh, bam. Man, people cringing across the world right now on the podcast. The trailer for Space Jam: A New Legacy dropped this weekend. I think it's the first trailer, right? I don't know any of the plot points until this weekend. But it hit. It's kind of confirms. There's two funny things about this, Mike. The first funny thing is they actually show LeBron James living in his mansion like he would, whereas Michael Jackson lived in like a quiet Chicago suburb in the first one.
A Freudian slip. You met Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
But those 90s Michaels get mixed around a lot.
It was mid 90s, and then it goes on to show Don Cheadle's the villain, and they're in essentially Tron.
There's so much weird stuff happening in this trailer. There's so much. Like this trailer, just to let you know, the comma and the period keys on your keyboard will act as frame-by-frame controllers for YouTube. You don't need an extension to do that. And you will need these to go through some of these crowd shots to experience all of the Warner Brothers IP that is jam-packed into this. I've seen some hot takes. I've seen some people that are kind of excited. The gamut really runs all over the place with this trailer. I think the thing that most people were upset with that I saw on my timeline was the Iron Giant, how in his amazing movie made by Brad Bird, he definitively tells people of Earth, the humans of Earth, that he is not a gun. He is not a weapon. He is a nice robot. Be nice to him and he'll be nice to you. And then what's he doing in this trailer? Like running through this town, just like knocking buildings over.
And he like laser beaming stuff too?
Now, I don't know if I saw a laser beam or not. Who knows? But who knows? In the context of the scene, maybe it makes a little bit of sense. But I mean, he was also messing crap up in Ready Player One as well.
Yeah. I saw a lot of Ready Player One reference, like comparisons to this, and I felt like it felt like the Lego movie as well, with like the amount of IP, because at one point LeBron has a board of like movie franchises. He wants Superman on his team and this other stuff.
Yeah, one thing I don't quite understand, I like the joke of Don Cheadle. First of all, Don Cheadle being an AI computer is like really funny in general, but seeing him send LeBron James to I think he says like the rejects or the losers, which is the Looney Tunes, right? But then later in the trailer we see Hanna-Barbera characters, and I'm just like, okay, come on, I think the Hanna-Barbera characters are lower tier than our Looney Tunes. Like I think that would be the lowest kind of Toon land that you could be sent to, but okay, I guess we'll just have to maybe it's just Toon in general, but they really keyed up the Looney Tunes music for that scene though.
Yeah, it could be a personal vendetta against the Looney Tunes for this. And then I'm just gonna drop this in here because I think it's weird to have Clockwork Orange characters in here. Like, not because
Pennywise is in the background as well.
Yeah, like R-rated films that no one should have to ever reference. You know, I love a Clockwork Orange on a cinematic level. Do not get me wrong. But I would not recommend to anyone going to watch Space Jam: A New Legacy with their family, hey, you need to watch Clockwork Orange, to preface this.
Yeah, but like, it is pretty. It's pretty clear that they are just going to be background characters. So, but yeah, it is kind of weird. I was going frame by frame, and I'm not 100% sure because there's lots of blue characters. Like you even get to see the Game of Thrones dragon and the Game of Thrones
King.
White Walkers. Yeah. Don't get confused. This other bald blue person, I'm pretty sure it's Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze. Behind the shoulder.
There's multiple penguins in here. The Joker, I believe the Riddler even at some point. So don't be surprised if Batman and the Justice League show up.
Yeah. I saw some cynical takes, which I think are fair, of like this is just a big IP mashup of a studio that is just, this movie is for their board members, not for any real audience. And at the same time, I'm just like, I mean, I wasn't a big basketball fan when I was a kid. And even when I was a kid, I wasn't super keyed up on the Looney Tunes. They were okay. I mean, I think maybe only like a year or two away of falling in love with like Dragon Ball Z and like anime. And I just wanted like a bunch of action fights that stretched out weeks long and narratives that you could follow over months of a time. So, like, yeah, the original Space Jam, it was fun, but, like, I don't have this heavy nostalgia for it. So, this movie is just a mashup of lots of things, and if I see it in theaters, I'm not 100% sure.
I don't think I'm going to see it in theaters. This is definitely one of the HBO Maxes, for sure.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I don't even have to pay to watch this. Great.
Yeah, because I'm looking at here, I see, I took a screen, there's a Scooby-Doo going on here. I believe there might be Thundercats.
There's Flintstones. Yeah, there's Cheetara's in there.
Mad Max is going on here.
The Hanna-Barbera Caveman and Shark is in it.
I'm pretty sure Scarface is in one of these as well.
Oh my god.
Was it Mama June from the Goonies as well? I think there's a line. I think there's like maybe a villains and a heroes line. I don't know. But like,
yeah, we're gonna need 4K screenshots on this one to get all of them.
Do we have enough time to make that list?
Also, Ready Player One, not a good comparison because I didn't like that movie, so I don't think you want to draw points from that movie to this movie.
I agree, but I think Warner Brothers, the Lego movie, also did the same kind of thing, and I'm like, let's see what
I started following Chris Miller on Twitter recently. I was actually shocked that I wasn't when I came across his name in my timeline. I was like, I'm really not following Chris Miller. He said it must have been spurred by the trailer of this movie. He said the whole reason he thought to do this mashup of IP in the Lego movie was he watched his son play with Legos and he saw him put Batman in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon with the Chewbacca, and that's what spurred him to do the IP. So I guess it feels a little bit more authentic with the Lego people.
Right. Well, Lego people says this. I don't know. Maybe they figure it out. I don't know. But like, there's Neo, or not Neo, Morpheus and Agent Smith in another shot.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
I think I did see Morpheus
Like,
in the background.
It is wild. This is crazy. I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's basketball and Looney Tunes in here, but I didn't see I didn't care about a single Looney Tune the whole time I saw.
What
this.
is it? The Monster Squad? Is that the players they play?
Well, this isn't the. I don't think this is the Monster Squad. This is like the something else.
These are highly rendered CG creatures.
They all look like. Well, do they look like elementals to you? Like, yeah,
it did kind of. It looks like, what is going on? This is like the end of a superhero movie happening.
Yeah,
here.
this is a culmination. So there's that. Oh man, you made me think of something else for that, but that's fine. This is my PSA for this: is if you like the original Space Jam, I'm not precious on it. Mike doesn't sound like you are either, but it's now on HBO Max for you to stream. It was not anywhere to stream until this week, and now it's on HBO Max. So
there you go.
If you want to go check that, I know what it was. It was Yosemite Sam when Daffy Duck's like shoot the ball, and he actually shoots the ball. I was like, yeah, I get that.
I mean, if we want to talk about the actual content, like they ended it with the worst joke, like the granny joke of just like, oh, the granny can do gymnastics on her walker. Like, who is that joke for? Like, this is supposed to be nostalgia for millennials, or possibly bringing in new audiences. Like, I don't think anybody ever really liked the granny, and it's just like, oh, old person doing funny jokes.
I'm pretty sure they did the same thing in the first movie.
Yeah,
did she not dunk on the aliens or something in that? Because she was like on the bench the whole time.
This is where the I bet you're fun at parties side of me comes out. It's just like I'm critiquing like animated jokes in a Space Jam trailer. So I'll stop.
Meant for kids. Space Jam is not for us. We're not the audience, but thank God we have HBO Max for the rest of the year for that. Speaking of things on HBO Max, The Suicide Squad, we talked about that first trailer last week in depth. And guess what? That was a red band trailer. Don't show it to your kids. But now you can show them the green band trailer if you want them to be excited for an R-rated movie. I don't know.
Yeah, they can't go to it anyway.
So the green band trailer dropped, and most of this is new footage. Really impressed with this.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked. I guess on a green band trailer, you can't show a needle going into the base of somebody's neck.
Yep.
Because I noticed that they cut that scene, which is good because I get kind of skeezed out about needles anyway. So I was like, okay, this cuts for Mike. But there was a lot of new stuff in here.
I think they showed a lot more of the first squad. The one that's not probably going to be in the movie very long. The one with Pete Davidson and Nathan Fillion, who we get to see his arms come off and do something. We don't know what it is.
Yeah, they're kind of like floating there.
Yeah, I think TDK stands for the Dismemberment Kid. I'm just gonna hold strong to that because in the comic books he's arms fall off boy, and I'm like, but yeah, we get to see that. Captain Boomer. There's a boomerang shot. I don't know what anybody else really does, but then it kind of shifts gear and goes into What song are they playing in the background?
I don't even know.
I forget. It's a slow motion or something, but it's fun. There's a lot of action. We get to see more guns with Idris Elba's character.
Yeah, we saw a couple more shots of the Weasel. Is it just Weasel? Is that the character name? Yeah, I don't know if maybe those just hadn't rendered last week and they just got around to them, or if they thought like, oh, this is a Green Band trailer. If we're slightly trying to promote to maybe a younger audience that shouldn't really be watching this movie
is
anyway.
Safer than seeing a shark rip somebody in half on a beach.
Yeah, let's put the Weasel in there. But there is a very quick shot of the character that kind of looks like Starfire, who kind of has like the princess look with she holds onto a helicopter, which makes it like lose its balance, and it like cuts through a bunch of soldiers, and there is like a brief spray of blood. So I guess you're allowed to have 10 frames of blood in your green band trailer. If you go to 11, that's too much blood for your green band. So
exactly,
there's some violence to watch in here.
And John Cena got another line in this one about how he loves peace so much he'd kill men, women, and children for it.
I don't care how many people I have to kill to get peace, which makes me really look forward to his HBO Max show. That's going to be so funny.
Yeah. So green band trailer just as fun as a red band trailer, to be completely honest. So
you'll have a good time.
Check that out if you're excited for the Suicide Squad. I heard a lot of people last week based on our episode. A lot of people excited for the Suicide Squad. So that's good to know. And I honestly, like I said, I'm going to reiterate this every time I hear it in the trailer. I hate people with personalized license plates. And Harley, the only time I've ever agreed with Harley Quinn is like, if you have a personalized license plate, you die. I'm like,
oh no,
I can jump onto this. I'm not going to kill anybody. I'm not going to hurt anybody, but I think the sentiment's there. So, it's really fun. So, go Suicide Squad. All right, let's back out. We're out of the trailer park, Mike. We're going to jump onto some other stuff. Whether you like it or not, DC doesn't want to focus on any of those new gods that we were just introduced to in the Snyder Cut. So the DC film, being written and directed by Ava DuVernay, completely canceled, scrapped to the bottom.
And I think it's safe to say we can lump this into the next topic because these were kind of hit the news at the same time. The James Wan Trench, I want to say, vanity project also canceled. That one's not as surprising. I think you and I both, when we heard about it, was just like, oh, this is what happens when a director makes a successful movie over at DC, and they're just like, we'll let you do anything next just to keep you around and keep you happy. And since he's this horror director, he's like, yeah, I think those creepy fish people were pretty cool. Maybe I'll make one of those.
Yeah.
I think these two bits of news kind of key into some other Warner Brothers news that we have a little bit later. But it does seem like there might be some maybe streamlining happening here, right? Like kind of cutting the fat, if you will.
I saw the conspiracy theorists jumping in saying, oh, they're canceling the New Gods film so they can make way for Zack Snyder's New Gods.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't hear that one.
And I was like, absolutely not. I'm pretty sure they're not doing New Gods because it would have tied into those characters so much. And this is just like the final, like no, we're done.
I mean, Ava DuVernay put out a statement where, you know, like any director who still wants to get work in Hollywood, didn't exactly like, you know, throw up the middle finger, but she said she was disappointed. She didn't continue on this project anymore. She gave a shout out to the writer of the film, and she was sad that they weren't going to see what they were working on come to fruition. So, you know, Ava DuVernay, you know, I know what was that Disney movie she made with like
Wrinkle in Time?
Wrinkle in Time. I know that one didn't really didn't knock it out of the park financially, but she's a big, well-known director now, and it seems like Warner Brothers isn't keeping a lot of directors over there happy.
Well, that's not true because they did give her other project she's working on next. The other DC project that's going to HBO Max.
The dark thing.
I'm gonna pull it up here. Let me see here.
Justice League Dark, possibly.
No. It was something else. It's based on a comic book by something else that's not.
Either way, it's
DMZ. It's called DMZ, is what it was called, and they announced it at that Warner Brothers Day a couple months ago. It had one of the icons.
Yeah, it sounds like there was some work put into it for sure.
Yeah.
So that's a little upsetting, but it seems like there is some streamlining going on here, cutting the fat, if you will. Not necessarily fat can be good. Fat is delicious. Yeah. So not saying these were necessarily going to be bad, but
I think
there's a lot of things happening over at Warner Brothers right now.
I think New Gods had the most potential. Because the Miracle Man comic book series won a bunch of awards, and this was like greenlit right after that. Tom King wrote that. He was the writer on this with Ava. So I think that's like very disappointing. Wouldn't you want to watch a movie where one of the characters' name is Miracle Man, whose real name is Scott Free because he gets away scot free? Literally. I mean, this is literal. I'm not being puns here. This is how it was. Granny Goodness, Big Barda, you know, all these characters you know and love, Mike, would have been there. The Trench, I'm glad kind of just got axed. So before you know it, remember when they announced Aquaman 2 like 3 years ago? We were like, that's forever away, and now it's like next year. So I'm like, oh shit, 2022 is going to be a big one for us. Switching gears to that, on the Batman animated movies from DC, always going strong. They will turn anything to an animated movie over there. So maybe Miracle Man will get one of those animated treatments, you know, because they will do anything. But right now they're taking a classic, finally, Batman The Long Halloween, and turning that into an animated movie, and they're doing it into a part 1 and part 2, probably because it's a very long series, I think 12 issues. In the part 1, they've kind of revealed the first look, which looks about like a DC animated movie would look.
Yeah, not much to take from that one screenshot.
Black and gray, Batman, his colors, but the voice cast looked pretty good, I'm gonna be honest. We have Jensen Ackles as the lead of Batman. He did voice the Red Hood before this in the animated stuff. Josh Duhamel as Harvey Dent, Titus Welliver as Carmine Falcone, David Dastmalchian, who is the Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad, as Calendar Man, Troy Baker as a Joker. I mean, this is a beautiful voice cast here.
It makes you wonder if you can glean anything out of this, though, because one thing that we do know is Warner Brothers did have the reins over some of these characters when the live-action TV shows on the CW were popping off. Like, no, you can't use Batman, you can use Batwoman. No, you can't use this character, you can use this character, right? So there was some theories of, you know, would the Long Halloween affect the Matt Reeves Batman movie coming out at all? You know, we have seen a trailer now. We know, like, the Riddler is pretty heavily involved, so it seems like maybe it wouldn't be the Long Halloween anymore if Warner Brothers kind of would, quote unquote, allow an animated Long Halloween movie to come out on a two-parter, at that. So not saying The Long Halloween couldn't possibly be in the future for Batman live action wise, but it seems like this might be a good point to go. Like, it sounds like we're just going to be mainly sticking with Riddler for the Batman.
Yeah.
And I know some other villains have been cast, but
I think well, we have the aged up Penguin. Remember with what's his name? Boy, I'm gonna push it.
Olaf.
No, it's not Olaf. It's he was the Bullseye in the Daredevil movie.
Colin Farrell.
Yes, Colin Farrell's the Penguin.
Now?
Yeah. Yeah, or at least a character, kind of like that. The Josh Gad punked everyone he was playing.
Josh Gad, that's what it was. Yeah. He had that stupid April Fool's joke.
But anyway, so we'll just jump into it because this is a great jump-off point into the Batman, the movie. So apparently Warner Brothers and DC Films are looking to consolidate their quote-unquote shared universe continuity into one timeline, except for the Batman. What?
Like, I guess you just kind of like, this is where I'm a visual learner. This is where I really need like a whiteboard that has like, I have like little movie logos like with magnets that I can put up on there and go, okay, what universe is this in? Okay, Batman up there. Because like, what's one of the last DC movies we know that really knocked it out of the park financially and is definitely going to see more of? It's Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. So it's just like, okay, where do we put him? Everyone has been talking about this for years and years and years of a Flash, Ezra Miller, his character. This is the best way to reset all of this. So seems like if you're going to reset all of it,
do it all.
Why wouldn't you do it all? But who knows? Maybe Matt Reeves contractually is just like, no. I have this whole story planned out of what I want this Batman to do over like 3 movies. Yeah. Let me do it. Don't mess any of this up.
Well, also they have the TV show as well that's tied into this.
Which is weird because it says here in our show notes that this is going to possibly go across into HBO Max as well, right?
Yeah. So I think here's my understanding is anything Batman and Batman adjacent, such as the Gotham PD, will be in Earth 2. Everything else, which I think only one outside of that spectrum was Joker, right? Everything else was technically in the same universe. So there's really not a lot to consolidate here. It just sounds stupid now I'm talking out loud.
But it is kind of confusing pulling up HBO Max going like, I'm going to watch the new Green Lantern show. Oh, but this has nothing to do with the new Gotham PD show at all. These are isolated to Batman.
So I think going forward with all the shows coming out, those will also be a larger part of the DC extended universe, if you will. We don't know until the Flash actually gets underway in films and gets it going, but it sounds like they could just maybe these reports are wrong. Maybe the Batman will become this because we don't have a Batman right now, right? In Earth 1, if you will, Prime Earth. So.
And I mean, what is the narrative of bringing all of these together? I mean, we kind of saw them play with it a little bit over there on the CW, where after the big crossover event, they all ended up on the same Earth together, and they were all technically always there together, and all of the incidental people around the plot just like, oh yeah, Supergirl, you've always been hanging out in Central City alongside of like the Arrow and everything else. But how would you do that in this movie, right? Are they trying to technically say that even like Titans or Doom Patrol would technically be brought into the same universe? Now, maybe there'd be some sort of crazy, like to bring it back to Ready Player One, maybe there'd be some sort of insane, also like Avengers Endgame fight scene where you bring in all of these different universes and characters and like just kill half of them off on the battlefield, right? We're really trying to streamline. We're not only gonna kill these movies in real life, we're gonna kill these people in the movies so we don't have to worry about all this anymore. But man, it's crazy that it all technically hinges on one movie coming up, right? The Flash. Like, what's going to happen? What are you going to do? All I can say is whether or not any of us agree with this or think that there's a better way, it's going to be a wild ride, right? I mean, geez, with the streaming success, and I think it's safe to say Zack Snyder's Justice League was a streaming success, especially for all the news that it got. Something's got to happen with it in some respect, I feel like, right? Whether I want it or not, it seems like a Max executive would be crazy not to follow something up. So there's going to be lots of flux happening, which just keeps our show pulsing and breathing and our heart beating over here at Superhero Slate. That's for sure.
We're going to have to develop some sort of visual thing for the DC universe, like start crossing like flow charts and everything that people can just go and look at because we don't know. I don't know. I mean, will the Doom Patrol and Titans, move to that? Well, where does Swamp Thing live at? It's airing on the CW, but it was made for DC Universe, which is now HBO Max. I don't know where any of these things are going or coming. So hopefully they just figure it out. And Batman, I like Robert Pattinson. If they want to pull him into the main universe and replace Ben Affleck, that's fine. But you need to make that decision pretty early on, or don't do it. Don't do another reset in 2 more years with another Flash movie. So I don't know, man. It seems like this wild. We'll just have to buckle up and go for a bumpy ride, if you will. Mm-hmm. Keep your HBO Max subscriptions going. Oh wait, you're gonna have to if you want to watch Mortal Kombat, Mike, because they pushed it back 1 week to April 23rd. There's 2 thoughts behind this. One, hopefully more theaters. It appears like getting more openings. I think it's LA said they were going 50% capacity soon. Maybe New York. But also, if you got Justice League, the Snyder Cut, you're gonna have to renew again to watch Mortal Kombat. So
that's how they get you.
That's how they get you. So hopefully you gotta watch.
I mean, come on, a true Zack Snyder fan would keep their HBO Max subscription so they can watch the Justice is Gray edition and then just alternate week after week, right? I mean, you can watch a part every single day. You can just keep it in rotation and just always have it in your eyeballs, because Chris, like I've seen people on the internet say, the greatest superhero movie of all time. So you should just be watching it every day.
Yeah, the best ever made. And if you don't like it, well, man, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm kidding. I think honestly, if you're a fan, HBO Max, I think, again, just to reiterate this, I'm a huge fan. I think it's got the most bang for its buck.
Yeah, it's a great service. I mean, yeah.
And I just upgraded my phones, and when you upgrade a phone, they of course are like, hey, we have a new phone plan you have to go to, and my new one actually includes HBO Max, so technically I'm paying for 2 HBO Maxes right now. So I'm the true Snyder fan.
Yeah, you can stream the gray edition and the desaturated edition at the same time, side by side.
Oh my gosh! Well, it's 2 squares might make a full TV screen if they let me.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
I'm on to something here. But I'm excited for Mortal Kombat. Again, I've been playing Mortal Kombat 11. Really excited to see these fatalities in this R-rated movie, Mike. I want to go see it in theaters, but HBO Max, it's reeling me in every time I try to get out. It just pulls me back in. Speaking of streaming services getting cool things, Netflix purchased the next 2 sequels to Knives Out with Rian Johnson and Daniel Craig to return for both of them.
If I believe correctly, I think this overarching deal also expands past 2 sequels. I think maybe this is also a deal that just kind of keeps Rian Johnson at Netflix for the next 2 decades or whatever. So I mean that's pretty cool. That's a big get for Netflix. Knives Out was great. And
I've come around to it. I didn't like it at first, but I've come around to it. So
Daniel Craig performance as like a Southern detective is so weird but compelling. I really, really want to watch him be in another whodunit. And whodunits are just fun. We don't get a lot of them anymore, right? I mean, the fact that we're getting 2 more on Netflix, I'm down. I'm down to clown, Chris.
Well, one of the other movies I was wishing Fox had it, now Disney, is the Murder on the Nile. Which they had, or Death on the Nile. They had Murder on the Orient Express. I love those Poirot movies, right? Like I like that first one really much. So I'm very excited for this next one. Minus the fact Armie Hammer is like the main star in it, and he's got a shit ton of problems right now. Don't dive into that one, folks. That's a whole different story.
I think he say something even before whatever his scandal is now. Didn't he like say something like disrespectful to like comic books and like Stan Lee, or maybe that was taken out of context. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. His new stuff.
But he was kind of on my radar, whether that was true or not, ever since I heard that. But I mean, this was a $450 million deal. Yeah. That is huge bucks, man.
So actually, I looked into this. Most investors are saying this is actually nothing exceptional. This is par for the course on deals, because
isn't that so sad? Yeah, like, it's just like we look at that dollar amount and go like, "Holy crap!" The things that we could do with that, and there's like, "Yeah, this is normal, whatever."
Yeah, well, exactly, because like a lot of streamers, again, they're like Amazon and Disney Plus and Netflix, and they're all like combating, to bring in content over and over again to their ecosystem, and like they're trying to nag these people. Like, was it Warner Brothers got J.J. Abrams for their DC stuff, kind of thing? Bad Robot.
I guess for some context, I looked it up. I think the last really big creator deal we maybe talked about on the show, like back in 2018, was Greg Berlanti, the creator of all those CW shows. He had a $400 million overall deal. So
that we know of. I mean, there's probably more that we don't know
which is weird, because when we talked about that deal, it was like, holy crap, talk about a chunk of change right there. And then Rian Johnson gets $50 million more on that, and we're just like, yeah, whatever. It's just another streaming deal out there in the world.
Abrams was $250 million for his Warner Media stuff. But that probably it doesn't include what he's going to get paid for doing the next Superman movie. So
Yeah.
we'll see what that is. But yeah, deals like this we're going to be all the time. Now, again, they've reiterated at Lucasfilm and Rian Johnson himself that his trilogy is still in the works there. Who knows? I mean, what was it? The last thing we saw was that the Game of Thrones guys have been fired from how many studios so far? I think they might be at Netflix now, aren't they?
They'll land somewhere.
Yeah. So Disney hired them to do Star Wars, and then they said nope, goodbye. And now I think they're at Netflix. So yeah, we'll see what's going on with that. But Knives Out, more stuff, more content. Netflix up in their game with high quality stuff, high quality actors. I'm sure Daniel Craig will be great to get out of James Bond's suit finally and get into his Southern detective again. So sounds good to me. All right, so this is the part of the show where we start jumping into some spoiler territory. We'll do Falcon and Winter Soldier first, followed by Godzilla versus Kong. So if you've not watched any of these things, turn off. If not, we got time codes. Everything has time codes. Did you know that? All of them, no matter where you are. I specifically put these in here for you because I know you need them as much as I do. So
Chris loves you, everybody. He is your best friend and your father, and he will give you little kisses on the head before you go to bed.
I'm gonna give you. I'm like the Grinch, and you are my Cindy Lou Who's. I'm gonna give you a drink and put you to bed, and then I'm gonna steal your Christmas tree because to hell with you.
Yeah.
But Falcon Winter Soldier episode 3, Mike. I'm interested. I'm interested because you have words, and you told me you had words, and I don't know what that means.
I have grievances. We might be at odds here, and
I feel we are because I watched it after.
I don't know if I'm the odd one out here. I have been kind of just avoiding the overall online conversation with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, just like how I did with WandaVision. So I don't even know what the temperature is out there. But I did check your temperature on Friday when you watched this, and it seemed like you were kind of surprised that I might have some things to say about this episode. But I'm a little frustrated. I mean, if you can tell, if you've caught the last 2 weeks of the podcast, my opinion of this overall show has been a little worrisome, and this episode did not help things. And it feels like I just watched an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with just higher paid actors in it. I just was not a fan of a lot of things that happened in this episode. Things just seem sloppy. Our main characters, Bucky and Sam, don't seem to be very proactive. They just seem to be very reactive, which is kind of boring to watch on a TV show. Yes, I will agree that the show looks great. This definitely looks like a high quality TV show. The visual effects are on par. The only saving grace in my head is this show feels a lot more like a longer movie divvied up into parts, whereas something like WandaVision felt more episodic. Now, you could say that was just because the theme of the type of show that they were making, or who knows, Loki could end up feeling very episodic too as well. But I just feel like I can't get into the groove of the show, and I have lots of questions. I'm confused, so I'm going to use this moment to air them out. And I just have to say, I do not like what's happening with Zemo here. Everything just seems like so weird, starting from the very beginning of the episode where I thought we were going to be treated to a very fun prison breakout scene, and he just gets out of prison. Like, why? He did not need the help of Bucky. He didn't need anybody's help to get out of prison. The only thing apparently he needed to do was to get two dudes fighting in the mess hall, and he could just like very easily slip out. So like, why did he wait all of this time to escape prison when he specifically tells us like, oh, well, at least when you were imprisoned, you were frozen the whole time. I have to just look at this prison cell. I hate it here. And it's like, well, dude, it sounds like you could have gotten out whenever the hell you wanted. So I don't understand what's the impetus of him deciding just to get out now. I don't know if you have any answers for me, Chris.
I mean, I think maybe he didn't have a purpose, right? Like, I think, what do you do? Like, you know, I guess the last time we saw him was in fact 7 years ago in the timeline. He was at a cell.
The last time we saw him, he wanted to kill himself. No. He had a gun to his head, yep, and he was ready to end it all. It seems like at the very least, you like escape prison and just jump off of a bridge, you know. At least that could be your motivation for getting out of prison. 7 years.
I think, I don't know if we'll get any flashbacks with Martin. What's his name? The guy who's in Black Panther.
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman's character, yeah. Who talked to him. I don't know if we'll get any. I think they may give us some background on him. I'm interested to see. I really don't mind this show. I love the character study of Bucky and the Falcon. They don't get along. They're trying to do the same thing, but it's not. I think this one, again, was a little light on the overarching stuff. I don't quite understand what the Flag Smashers are doing yet.
Yes, please. Yes, we can talk about those people too.
I think they're doing humanitarian things, but in a wrong way. It feels very. This is a sequel to Civil War. It's how I looked at it after everything, because I'm like, okay,
And
these are the.
It's also a sequel to Endgame in a way, where it seems like these Flash Smashers and a lot of people here are being motivated by the blip, but we don't get to see. I understand why they're motivated, but we don't get to see it. We don't get to connect with it. Apparently, the Flag Smashers, they stole the superhero serum, the super soldier serum, so they would have the ability to steal like vaccines and goods.
Yeah.
And we are being told that it's for like refugees or whatever, but we never get to see really the refugees. We don't get to see where they are. We don't get to connect with them. And we don't even really know why they are refugees. Like, I know people are displaced from coming back from the blip, but like, I can't emotionally connect with anything the Flag Smashers are doing because we haven't even seen it. Like, there was like one brief moment where she was just like, oh, I think that might have been her mom, like dying on a cot.
I don't know who that is. I don't think it's her mom. I think we're going to find out more about, this church sanctuary thing a little later. There's, what we've missed in the MCU so far in Phase 4 is the actual desperation and the actual, how bad were things during and immediately after the blip.
It feels like the show is also like being rushed. It's like they're trying to get us to the end and they're skipping over like very crucial details. Like the whole reason that they wanted to bust Zemo out is absolutely insane to me, because they say that they've reached their limit. They can't find any more information. They've shaken loose every single lead that they have, and they can't find these Flag Smashers. But we're only like 3 episodes in. Really, technically only 2 episodes have happened, and I feel like me and myself and the audience, I have not seen a whole lot of work gone into them trying to find these Flag Smashers. Like, they couldn't quite beat them on the top of that trailer truck, and then at the beginning of this episode, a U.S. agent busts in and tries to interrogate people, and it doesn't quite go that way. And now all of a sudden, it's just like, oh, we've done literally everything we can. Let's bust out one of the most successful villains in the MCU. Let's just get him out of jail just for the hell of it. We'll keep a good eye on him. It just seems like, I get it. I like the story idea of getting Zemo out and using him, but it just seemed lazy the way they told the story of just like, let's just get him out of prison. Let's not talk about it that much. Let's just see what happens.
Well, I think
this dude almost single-handedly took down the Avengers, and technically you could say he did take down the Avengers. He accomplished what he wanted to, and they're just like, oh yeah, well, we'll just get him out. We'll just bust him out. No big deal. It just, everything is just like, it's so rushed, and it's making me very frustrated.
I think the whole difference is there's no planning, because Sam is a planner and Bucky is not. He's the Winter Soldier, right? He just was like, I think he had one of the cooler action scenes this episode in the bar where he like took down everybody. And I was like,
that
oh my
was
god,
cool.
that is cool. But I think he doesn't plan because that's not how he was trained.
Yeah,
he's a pointed weapon, and that's what he's like, I need to do this, so I'm just gonna do it. And
at the same time, he is the one character out of the entire MCU, out of all of these people on planet Earth, he is the one character that should be the most worried about occupying the same room as this guy. Like, yeah, he talks about how he deprogrammed all of these codes, but it's just like, maybe just let Sam go in and do it. Like, out of all of these people, I don't know. Like, these are like the little things that I feel like are being being overlooked. And a lot of my problems, I think, are still all kind of funneling back to Zemo, because the most compelling part about his character in Civil War, right, was he was one man on a mission, just a relatively normal guy who we got a little bit of backstory showing that he was kind of like this soldier over there in Sokovia, right? So he did kind of have some means of tracking down some people, but one man just with just endless amounts of, like, I guess, revenge in his body was able to take down the strongest people the Earth has ever seen. And then all of a sudden, now in this show, he's a baron, and he actually had all of these resources. He's rich, which didn't make any sense to me. because he tells them like, oh, what, you didn't know I was a baron? Yeah. I was a big shot in Sokovia. That's why I have all of these planes and all of these cars and everything. But then later in the episode, he says like, oh, it's terrible what happened to Sokovia. Once it fell, once you guys like dropped a rock on it, like the neighbors came in and just scrapped up everything. Sokovia doesn't even exist anymore. So why would your wealth exist? Why would you still be royalty? I don't understand. Like, I'm not super upset that this is necessarily what they decided to do, but they're doing a piss poor job of explaining it to me.
I mean, I think again, you're looking for little rocks and details in this when it's not that many rocks and
but
details.
It's a TV show. This is where you want the little details.
This is a event series. This is 6 episodes of a show that probably won't get a second season based on kind of how things are going. I hope it does, but I think the characters will get something else. I don't care that he was a baron. He had the money. He just had time before. Now they don't have time. So they're acting differently because, Zemo did have years to plan his revenge on the Avengers. And this one, they've got a couple days to figure this out before these superpower people, get across the world. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for, I'm looking at the character study of, Sam, looking at the character study of Bucky and how they're interacting, how they're different. And, we all know who's going to be the Captain America in this, right? Who got the shield? But how does he work with a sidekick like Bucky, like Captain America did, and how do they come together to again, they'll probably have to fight America for one, and then the Flag Smashers on another end throughout this. But I'm enjoying the show. I don't have the minor details. I think when all 6 episodes are done, the answers are going to be there, and we're not going to have as many questions. We
shall see.
Because I think you had the same issues. I'm just saying you had the same issues with WandaVision, but we got the answers later, right? Like they gave us the answers by the end of it. So I'd like to see the whole picture and be like, okay, these are the parts they didn't answer, and I still have questions.
And this is why you should stay subscribed to Superhero Slate, because at the end of the next 3 weeks, you can potentially see me and Chris go head to head even more. So there you go, Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode.
It all depends on how you watch it, what your mentality is when you watch it. We don't have to agree on them all. I think it's still a quality.
Fun.
It's still a quality show.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it when we don't agree on things on the podcast because it's more fun for the both of us, I think.
Yeah, we both go crazy by the end of it. All right, well, that's good. Let's go ahead and get to something we're probably both going to agree on. Godzilla versus Kong. I didn't even know you've watched this, to be completely honest.
I watched it on Friday, just like I promised. I was like, this is going to be a Friday night movie. I can't watch this on a Wednesday. I can't watch 2 of the biggest beasts to ever cross this planet on a Wednesday. That's too much.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's where I don't even look at the days. I'm like, these are the 2 biggest beasts. They deserve my time any day of the week. That's what I'm going to go look into. So, we both got to watch it. It's free on HBO Max. If you have HBO Max, you can also go watch it in theaters. Apparently, it's doing awesome numbers across the world in theaters. It's also the first movie since theaters have opened, pretty much. So, good for it. This is a culmination, some prefaces of the MonsterVerse movies, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and also Kong Skull Island. So we finally get here in this, and here it is. Mike, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I mean, I can say that this is easily the best movie of the MonsterVerse by far.
Oh God.
Oh
no.
I had so much more fun with this movie, but I do have to say, my expectations were all the way to the ground, because after watching all of the other MonsterVerse movies, like you just already know what to expect, right? So I just take all of the things that I want out of this movie. I know I'm not going to get them, so let's just start from expecting an F-, and I ended up having an okay time. It's all ridiculous. It's all dumb. It's all silly. I think the thing that helped this movie the best was it seemed like the human elements are less. I would love to see somebody's runtime, like that same dude that did all the calculations for the slow-mo in Snyderverse. Like, go ahead and throw him on this movie and do the calculations of how many human scenes were in here, because I feel like it was less. I feel like we had a lot of less human adventures, which is what you want. You just want to see the big monsters fight each other, right? And I think it was also helpful that by the time that you get to this movie, human beings had advanced their technology enough to where at least they could kind of be more of a plot point in the movie. Like, it's absolutely insane that they go to the center of the Earth. It makes no sense. It's basis of no reality. I kept getting weird flashbacks to the movie The Core, where they actually went to the center of the Earth, and guess what? It's only a big ball of lead and lava down there in that movie. So all of that makes no sense, but at least kind of some of the technology is fun. There's a silly magic axe. The special effects are really, really good. So I had a fun time. I'm glad I did not pay for this movie. I can tell you that.
I think this is the worst of all of them, by far.
Yes. Yes. I love how different we are.
I will say that your promised Titan fights of the century, right? Titan fights. Like, you're going to get a Godzilla, you're going to get Kong, and they maybe have like 2 goddamn fights this whole fucking movie. Like, there is no fighting going on. I am bored. They're human characters who are the worst parts of all these movies, and somehow they get even worse. How do they get worse? You've got Millie Bobby Brown and the kid from Deadpool 2, right? Like, you're like, okay, these are pretty fun kid actors. Just completely tanked. I think I like Godzilla King of the Monsters more than this because there's more Titans fighting and there's more action. And on this, I was just bored. If they weren't fighting, I was just like, oh my god, I'm so out of my mind bored while they try to figure out why this snotty rich person, of course he's making Mecha Godzilla, like, right? Like we all caught that early on, right? Like, oh, this is definitely Mecha Godzilla coming. Mm-hmm. And then his snotty daughter, you're like, yeah, she's a bitch, like, she's gonna die. Like, the only time I cheered so hard was when her ship got caught by Kong and blown up there at the end. I was like, yes.
Is that the same actress that was in Bloodshot?
Yes, it was Bloodshot. Yep.
Yeah.
So that was the Bloodshot actress. I was like, oh, you're just annoying as shit. I mean, for some reason, there's how convenient they're transporting Kong, and they're like, we avoided all of Godzilla's waters, but he somehow found us in this one spot in the ocean.
There's so many ridiculous.
It was like, I can get ridiculous. I'm like, okay, they're fighting. That's cool, but like, there was so much between that fight and then the end fight. I just like, what the hell should I do? Like, what is going? I felt as bored as those people, as the people stuck in the tube going between was it San Diego or San Francisco?
I thought it was Florida.
No,
they Florida, Pensacola or something.
I thought it was California because that's where the landfall was last time.
Either way, apparently there's a tunnel.
Yeah, a maglev tunnel under the thing. I was just so goddamn bored to see this. Now I will go the other way and say I did enjoy that this movie does not do a long setup. It just starts. We're like, it's the modern day. We've been working with Kong. Boom. It's modern day. Here's Godzilla. Boom. We don't have to like give you their backstories of catch you up on the past 50 years of King Kong, right? Kind of thing. It would have been cool if John C. Reilly would have made a cameo as an old man. Because
that would have been cool. I think he would have been technically too old, right? Yeah. I think he would be dead.
Maybe some recorded footage of him talking about Kong.
Yeah, that could have been fun.
The human character. I know they carried over the characters from King of Monsters for no reason other than they're listening to a podcast as well about.
I never remember the actor's name, but the guy who played Coach in Friday Night Lights does like literally nothing in this movie.
Yeah,
he just talks to Millie Bobby Brown for a couple.
He finds his daughter in Tokyo, or not Tokyo, Hong Kong, randomly in a huge city being destroyed by 3 Titans. He's like, hey, there's my daughter. And
for me, this is kind of like the pendulum of this universe, right? In the very first Godzilla movie that I want to say came out in 2016. You can tell that they tried to make something that was believable, right? Like, how would the modern world react to a giant lizard attacking? It seemed very grounded. Even, like, the cinematography felt real and, like, scary and dramatic. This is the total other way. They're just kind of making something that honestly feels like camp most of the time. I mean, like, really, they use the skull of the other Titan to use a neural pathway to the robot. I mean, it's not only pointless, you don't even need it. Like, we understand that your technology could possibly control Mechagodzilla. Like, we don't need the whole, like, a mental tissue connection of what was the 3-headed monster?
It's Ghidorah, but like
Ghidorah.
Why?
Yeah, that's right.
Like, so apparently now it mentally telepaths, and that just happens at the one moment they connect.
Well, yeah, Chris, because it would take too long for it to go down the neck and up the neck of the other one to talk to you, which is just hilarious just on its face, but. like I enjoyed the monster fights. I thought they were fun. The biggest advantage of having Kong in your monster movie is you can emotionally connect to the monster more, because it's like apes. What do they say? Share 98% of our DNA.
And he knows sign language. Like he can talk.
So you can just connect to it more. Obviously, everything around it is silly, like a magic axe. Like, who put that in the movie? It's stupid. But like when Godzilla charged it up at the end for the final blow, I was like on board with it. I was like, this is super fun.
So I think this suffers from X-Men syndrome, where there's two fights. I could just watch them on YouTube and have seen the movie. Like, I feel like that's where I'm at with this, because I was really invested in the other ones, right? Like, I mean, not like pouring my life into it, but like the King of Monsters set up this whole other pantheon of Titans, right?
Yeah, because they were trying to make films. They were really trying, whether it turned out well or not, they were trying to make something that held a little bit more weight.
Yeah, so I think it would have been awesome. There's a Mothra egg somewhere, the Rodan and the other crazy looking Titans. Like, where were they at for this? Like, couldn't, like, they had some more going on? Like, it could have just been docu footage, right? Rather than, but like, I feel like Godzilla was underwater for most of this movie. Yeah, like, you just saw his fins, which was the same thing as King Kong's axe. So is this just like recycled assets over and over again?
Yeah, I mean, they just had to fundamentally change this movie for Mechagodzilla to make any sense. We talked about this before the movie even came out. Like, how do you even fundamentally explain the existence of a giant mecha in this universe? This means you have to advance the technology of the humans for it to even make sense. So it's just kind of like they have two paths to pick, right? And it seems like they all realize that there are only one movie left in the chamber, right? They're probably not going to make any more of these, but who knows? This one performed pretty well at the box office. Maybe we'll get a Snyder offshoot, of HBO Max just making these hits now, putting them on their platform. But it's just like, okay, what do we do with the last film? We want to do Mechagodzilla. Things are just going to have to get silly. But either way, it seems like this is done, over with. This chapter has been closed, possibly on these monsters.
Who won?
Apparently, the director said that we were going to have an answer of who won, and it was pretty clear that Godzilla was the primo king. King Kong did take, I think they said, round 2. But then round 2 and round 3, I guess, both happened in the city. But King Kong lost, but he did get the final blow on Mechagodzilla.
The colors of that city during that fight at night, fucking beautiful.
Yeah,
absolutely
I don't
beautiful.
think Hong Kong literally looks like that at night, but
this
I was
version
okay
of
with it.
Hong Kong with Godzilla, and it looks like that.
They destroyed that city. Like, you do not want to live in Hong Kong before or after that was going to happen. I mean, wow, they did not. At least they didn't hold back, right? I mean, I guess this just shows the Western side of me. But like, I've never been to Hong Kong before, so I was just like, I don't care what they do to that city. I've never been there.
Wow.
But like, when they were destroying San Francisco, even though I don't live in San Francisco, I was just like, oh, I wonder how people are going to rebuild. But I'm just like, yeah, destroy that city. I've never been there before. Even though it's all fake, it doesn't matter anyway.
And did you know the guy using the PlayStation VR to control Godzilla? That's the son of Kin Watanabe's character.
Watanabe?
Like,
I didn't pick up on that.
Why did they not tell us that more? Like, if he had a purpose, like, I'm doing this to avenge my father.
Yeah, or he could have had like a little picture of his dad on the dashboard, right? Yeah. Of that kind of VR headset.
Yeah, like that's a detail. Like, it's in here. Why did we not focus on that for a little bit more? I think the crazy podcast guy, Brian Tyree Henry's character, he had motivations, right? His dad, his wife was killed in a kaiju attack, and he was like, "Oh, they're covering up." I think he was probably most of the human characters. I'm like, I get you. And then also Rebecca Green, her character with the kid, the Kong Whisperer.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed those humans, but everybody else can just get out of the movie.
Yeah, I can't take credit for drawing this line. I saw it somewhere out there on the internet, but it is hilarious that Millie Bobby Brown's crew, after all of the work they did, their culmination of all of their efforts in this movie was just pouring whiskey onto the control panel to briefly slow down Mechagodzilla for like 2 seconds. And that was it. They had no other contribution. At least King Kong's team like literally brought him back to life by defibrillating him, which was super silly, but I thought it was kind of fun. So yeah, the less humans, the better. But theoretically, could you even make this movie without any humans at all? There's got to be there's got to be a balance, right? But I don't even know if that's possible.
The motivation, like I think the Ken Watanabe's son, and a couple of them, if they had motivations, it would feel better. But nobody had a motivation, and that's like the only thing. I just wish there was more. I think I could watch the 2 fight scenes, or I guess quote unquote 3 fight scenes, and would have been happy. But everything in the middle, I was like, I don't need this extra stuff.
Shout out to I don't even remember the name of the class anymore. But if you are a student or are going to be a student at Purdue University, there is a wonderful film course where you go through the scientific accuracy of films, and one of them is the core. And the instructor, I can't remember the guy's name, unfortunately, but he went through all of the reasons why you cannot go to the center of the earth, whether or not there is something there. The gravity would just absolutely destroy you before you even got there. So really hard to turn my brain off at that point in time. So you have to turn your brain off to watch this movie. So turn it off, and I think you'll have a good time. But it sounds like Chris did not.
I did not. I tried to. I was so excited for this. I mean, my mentality for this is like my mentality for Mortal Kombat, right? I need a popcorn movie, but I was hoping for less dead time. I think the amount of action versus dead time was too much for me, and I was like,
who would have thought months ago, on the week of the 3rd episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we would be totally flipped on what we were enjoying that week. What a bizarre state of occurrences.
And last time we talked about Godzilla, you were like, I hate these movies. Like, why am I watching these?
I did.
And I'm like, oh, come on, they're awesome. They're building this world together. Now we're the other way. But I mean,
the pandemic, it's fundamentally changing us, Chris.
Yeah, it's doing something. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else to add to this. There's no post-credit scene, so you don't have to worry about that. And it's free on HBO Max.
There's a strategic reason why we tacked it to the end of the episode. We did not think we could fill an entire spoiler cast of Godzilla vs. Kong, and I think it's safe to say that we couldn't. So that's why it's just on this episode.
Exactly. All right, Mike. Well, I think that's it for this. We're gonna get out of here. I'll let people go watch these things if they haven't. If people want to know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at?
Well, they can find me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and you can read my webcomics and now fan fiction at pickledcomics.com.
I've been asked about this so many times. So
yes, Chris, I can't explain it. Well, I don't know why.
They're asking me. They're asking me, like, why is Mike writing this? What's up with it? I'm like, I don't know, man.
Me. I wrote some fan fiction about the Property Brothers. Yes, the Property Brothers that will renovate your home on HGTV. HGTV. I can't even say it. Like
You're so excited. Is this some sort of like erotic fan fiction?
There is no eroticism in here.
I'm out again.
I don't want to toot my own horn. I guess a boat does toot, depending on what it does. Anyway, it's funny. I think it's funny. If you want to read something funny and you have a slight knowledge of the Property Brothers, go read my fan fiction, The Property Brothers Grimm. They're transported to a fairy tale world, and they have to use their renovation prowess to survive. So go check that out. Just anywhere on social media, at Mike Royer Design. I linked it there.
Is this like the Hardy Boys, but the Property Boys?
It's better.
Oh, my gosh.
The power of brothers, the powers of friendship. Chris, people want to catch up and see what you're doing. Maybe eventually you'll write some fan fiction. Where can they find it?
Oh, sir, I went to film school, my friend. I wrote plenty of comic book fan fiction scripts back then. If I dig them out, I'd probably get hired. No, I'm kidding. If people want to find me, you can find me on Twitter, Valdan, VALDAN, or Instagram, Valdan87. I gotta give a shout out. I know I don't know if they're listening, but Chad and Eben, 2 guys I play Fortnite with, have work at a sticker factory and have gotten me my stickers for my arcade cabinet in the mail to me.
Oh, rad.
So I'm excited to get those kind of put together so I can complete my work. I'm kind of at a holding point until that gets done. Also, the price of wood is very expensive. I know you wouldn't know this.
No,
but the price of wood has shot up lately. I don't know what's going on.
I think I saw my mom share a meme about that. And I guess now I know what it means now.
Yeah, there we go. Learn it about the world through your mom's memes, Mike. I still want to do that thing where we ask your mom to review movies. Like we just like, hey, what do you think of this movie?
Hey, I gave them a Netflix gift card for the holidays, and they are binge watching Netflix like nobody's business. It's insane. She worked her way through all of The Crown. She watched Bridgerton, Downton Abbey. She's really into that across the pond entertainment.
She loves some England over there.
That's for sure.
Oh, that's
And then
awesome.
they also got Amazon Prime. My dad's watching Bosch, so they're cranking. They're working through there. It's in our DNA, the Royers, to binge watch.
Give them Paramount Plus next Christmas and tell them to watch Frasier. See how they feel about it. Maybe they'll put Cheers on there eventually. I don't know. Get some crossover love. All right, Mike. If people know more about the show, more about what we do. I don't know what our next review episode is, but by God, we'll do one eventually. Where can people find this at?
Well, all you got to do is visit superheroslate.com. That's the best place to find all the avenues we host our show, and to get our awesome show notes. So we talked about a lot of trailers this week. If you don't want to, chum through the YouTube recommendations for finding trailers, you can get it all there in our show notes. And to get our upcoming release calendar for when all these movies are supposed to be coming out, head on over to superheroslate.com. You can get us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and wherever else you love to listen to fine podcasts. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and the Gram, and you can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. Reach out and let us know what you're watching, what you're listening to. Are you more of a Mike or a Chris on Godzilla versus King Kong? Are you more of a Mike or a Chris on episode 3 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Reach out and let us know so we can argue with each other even more. We love our super fans of the show, and if you want to be a super fan of Superhero Slate, Chris, oh my God, it's so easy. All you have to do is what you should be doing all the time is recommending good content to friends and buddies out there, and make sure you're wearing your mask, socially distancing, getting your vaccine, and just overall being a good person.
Yeah.
You know, and that'll make you a Superhero Slate super fan. And we love you, and we'll see you here every week, folks.
And that includes next week. See you there.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
Diet was not a word in my household when it came to drinks growing up, and it's just like I sucked like eight of these things like down in a day, like on the weekend. I would drink like nothing but like Mountain Dews and play video games.
Right.
And I was
You
like,
have family-sized bag of Lay's chips or Doritos.